Radio Football Show with Burger King. Call 0808 17 17 700.
Let's go!
Good evening, this is Paul Cooney with the Go Radio Football Show, live on Go Radio, and also on YouTube. As you can see, just go to the button, this is Go Radio, and you'll find us. Barry Ferguson is here, and Andy Walker as well. Andy, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to everyone, yeah.
We haven't seen you since 2025. Not much has happened the last week or so.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe Celtic haven't got any signings in. I watched the game last night, Rangers Aberdeen. I can't believe Rangers are above Celtic after the last couple of months and how we've spoken, but makes for an astonishing title race.
Barry, you said you would go live in vision on YouTube if Rangers were back challenging. Andy didn't think it was going to happen. You're here, second top of the table after last night.
Yeah, another good victory. I thought the first half performance was really good. They tailed off a wee bit in the second half, but the main objective for Rangers at this moment in time is to continue to win games, and they've certainly done that. Look, Aberdeen weren't any great shakes, but look, Rangers sitting top of the league, second top of the league. I wish they were top of the league, and things are looking pretty in 2026.
On Monday night I pressed you, Barry, and you said, look, Martin O'Neill should be Celtic's choice. Moments later it was, and you said Rangers are going to win the league.
Yeah, well, you put me on the spot.
That's my job. Yeah.
But listen, it's going to get right down to the wire. I did say that as well. I think Rangers, Celtic and Hearts, there's a lot of football to be played, but as I said, I think it will go down to the final couple of weeks of the season. But if you'd asked me a couple of months ago, Paul, if Rangers were going to be in this position, I would have looked at you in a strange way. So fair play to Danny Rowe, fair play to the players, but as I said, there's still a lot of football to be played.
The new set piece specialist for Rangers seems to be working. Going to ask Barry about it. If you want to speak to Barry and Andy, you know the number 0808 17 17 700 in our brand new studio. Andy, we went live during the show last night. It was going so well. We maybe should wait till later in the week the way it started there.
You look so fresh. You've got a new wardrobe and everything. You look fantastic.
Thank you. Slater's is still there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best I've seen you look in a long time.
Thank you very much.
Quick 8 minutes in the sunbed as well, so you're looking the part, mate.
What about Martin O'Neill then, Andy, at your old club at Celtic? It's been, 33 days, an absolute shambles. But Wilfred Nonce, clearly that was the right decision. Martin O'Neill, is this the right thing to bring him in till the end of the season?
Yeah, I think when they were going to bring him in for the second time, I actually thought he might get the rest of this season and one more. He seems to have an appetite for getting back into management. Obviously, when he was in for a short time a couple of months ago, he did really well. And remember, this isn't a vintage Celtic team by any means. I've got to say, I'm still shocked that they've not got players in at this moment in time. They need a striker, they need a wide player, they need a defender, a central defender. So I'm really surprised they haven't done business already, because no matter who the manager is, Celtic need players, they need improvement.
How could they have got it so badly wrong though? Most people were saying, look, 7 out of 8 with Martin O'Neill, the new guy coming in, it's not as if he'd come from a top club. He could have waited, he could have found out more about Celtic, about Scotland, and if it's going well with Martin O'Neill, why make that change? It was a catastrophe. Well, that might be too strong, but
no, I think you're right. Catastrophic, yeah. And I think when you've been linked with the likes of Brendan Rodgers, Eddie Howe, Ange Postecoglou, Brendan Rodgers again, Martin O'Neill, all of them elite managers, and then you decide to go for someone who, he's in the MLS, which is not the biggest standard. It was an astonishing move. It was an astonishing turnaround. But then it's been a remarkable season when you look at events off the park at Celtic, when you look at the way Brendan Rodgers was treated in the immediate aftermath of him apparently resigning. I mean, just that very personal attack on him was something that I'm sure I'm not alone in finding astonishing. But they got a new man in, and I've got to say, it didn't work out. I'm sure he's got a good tactical brain, but he wasn't ready for a job of this magnitude. And it's got to be, I think it's down to arrogance that you don't change. When you see things week after week and they're not happening, they're not working, surely you've got to change it. Surely that's part of a a manager's bag, you've got options, and he didn't seem to have any options.
And ironically, Barry, in the first half on Saturday in the Rangers game, if Celtic had a Adamida or a Kyogo, or Ian Acho came in the last day of the window last time on loan, but Celtic might have been out of the park. They might have been 3 or 4 ahead if they had the striker that Brendan Rodgers was agitating for right throughout the summer.
Yeah, that was a high possibility. Look, I thought Celtic were good. Rangers were really poor. They could have been 2 or 3 up, no doubt about it. Jack Butland pulled off some magnificent saves. And then the second half, obviously at half time, Danny Rowe goes and makes changes. And then Celtic just couldn't live with it. And Rangers were very strong. And Andy used the point there about the manager being a bit arrogant. In game play, if a team's on top, you might have to change some things, whether it will be a player, whether it will be a formation. But he never done it. He never done it once when he came into the Celtic job. So that was surprising. But look, I thought it was a gamble to start with. And it's a gamble that certainly failed. And I says when Martin O'Neill was in charge, why not keep him to the end of the season? Because he knows the club. He was getting results. Celtic weren't playing great, but the most important thing when you play football is to win games of football, and that's certainly what Martin O'Neill was doing.
And that's just what Wilfred Nancy couldn't do.
It's a bad habit, isn't it? It's not a good habit to be in Scottish football, where the demands are so high, the scrutiny of every word that he utters, it's examined to death.
The press conference, on Friday ahead of the game on Saturday was almost bizarre. Did you not feel for him? A 7-minute answer to the media, and then he was going to...
Yeah, and again, I don't think there's anyone behind the scenes who's prepared to give him good advice. And I thought, I'm sure we discussed it, Paul, when he first came in. I thought the first thing he would do would be to embrace Martin O'Neill, sit down with Martin O'Neill, just get his chat, even just a look of sitting down with Martin O'Neill, this great, successful Celtic manager, and just try and feed off him a little bit. But no one behind the scenes prepared to give him any good advice.
So what's going to happen in the window for Celtic, for Rangers, for Hearts, top of the table? So Mark Guidi last night said, I think it would be Hearts I'd have to go with. Charlie, when pushed, Charlie Mulgrew said he thought it would be Celtic. Peter Grant said, let's wait till the end of the window. And remember, that was Monday, he was on with you, Barry, and we expected it to be Martin O'Neill, and it is.
He's going to wait till the end of May, isn't he, before he gives you an answer?
Hedging his bets. What do you think? 0808 17 17 700. And it's been the era of directors of football, or what they call, Barry, sporting directors or football department chiefs or whatever. Last night, what did you make of the Aberdeen technical director sitting right next to the interim manager, Peter Leaven?
Strange. I don't know the reason why he felt the need to sit on the bench with Peter Leaven. Let him go and do his job, sit up in the stand and watch the game. When I seen that, I was a bit baffled why that would be happening. But look, that's Aberdeen's choice. I thought Peter actually looked uncomfortable in the situation, if I'm being honest, when I was watching the game. So, yeah, they've... certainly sporting directors are certainly taking over football at this moment in time. It's
not easy, is it, Andy? And we've got Man United. You know, we're mainly on Scottish football, but obviously Amorim wasn't happy being head coach, not the manager. He wasn't happy with the director of football. It's a changing game. And at Celtic, Paul Tisdale departed on Monday as well, because I guess he was the person who was in charge of the football department and thought it was a good idea to bring in Wilfred Nancy. I mean, sanctioned by the board, but he seemed to be the prime mover.
Yeah. I think events off the field at Celtic this season have been awful, right from the word go, from the first utterance. Then you had that bizarre AGM, the attack on the Celtic supporters, the previous attack on the Celtic's website to a manager who'd won 11 out of 13 trophies. You've got this huge disconnect between Celtic and the board. I think it's still going to continue. And it's one of the reasons, I think, why Hearts feel as though this might be their year.
What do you think?
I think Hearts are the favourites because they've played Celtic and Rangers 4 times and they've won 4 times. So there's no fear. I think they've got a good manager, an experienced manager, a guy who handles the media very well, speaks very well. It remains to be seen what they do in this January transfer window. But given how desperate Celtic were for players to come in, I'm amazed we're a week into the season and they still haven't. I know they made an addition with the right back from Bournemouth, but I'm amazed that they haven't got a striker in.
Can't believe you're saying Hearts. I think that's what you're saying. They're the favourites because you're a former Hibs player.
Hearts are favourites. I still think Celtic have got the better squad. So if you can get, as Martin O'Neill did in the short time he was there the last couple of months ago, if you can get the best out of them, and you would hope they would be able to add 2 or 3 really good players that can make an impact between now and the end of the season. I still think Celtic will get the better players, but I would say right now Hearts are favourites.
No, they are the real deal under Derek McInnes, no question. And Tony Bloom might be saying spend a bit of money in January as well. I see they've got a player in already.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he backs him like he did in the summer. Look, January is sometimes a difficult window. But I'm sure Derek's identified some players. But they've had a great season. Listen, you can go on about Bragas and etc. But the best signing for Hearts has been the manager, Derek McInnes. What a difference he's made. I think around about this time last year, they were sitting bottom of the league. So the job that Derek McInnes has done at Hearts has been unbelievable. And they'll go right down to the wire. Listen, I think both Rangers, Celtic and Hearts will lose some more games, but it makes it for an interesting league title.
Going to hear from Danny Rule in a second. Andy Walker was always on tonight. I was always on. We couldn't get the budget for Rob McLean just yet. But it was going to be Billy Dodds. But Billy, of course, now assistant manager to Neil McCann. So for Billy Dodds, there you are. Tables have turned. You were the gaffer 6 months ago. What do you think? How's he going to do, both of them?
I'm delighted. Listen, I listened to Neil's interview when he was doing an interview, obviously getting the job today. And he was very keen to get back in. When I brought him in, when I got the job at Rangers, it lit a fire in his belly, and he was always keen to try and get back into management. And what an opportunity! Listen, Kilmarnock have not had a great season. They're struggling a wee bit, but it's a good club, Kilmarnock. They'll be moving into a new training ground as well. He's got 2.5-year contract, and I wish Neil and Billy all the best, because one thing I know about them is they're hard working. They'll do everything possible to try and make sure Kilmarnock climb that league, but also they know the game inside out. They're very good coaches on the grass as well.
And I think Derek McInnes has shown that with his leadership of Kilmarnock over the last couple of years, the reason they're second bottom is Derek McInnes isn't there. He hasn't been able to lead them to that mid-table pushing for the top 6. They are favourites now to land in one of the 2 relegation spots. It's going to be a tall order for Neil McCann and Billy Dodds. But
do you think they'll do it? Keep them up?
I don't think they'll overtake St Mirren. I saw Dundee against Kilmarnock just before the new year. I thought Dundee were very impressive. I think Kilmarnock and Livingston will be in the bottom 2. It's a huge game this weekend to see who'll win that.
What a start that would be for Neil and Billy if they can get that win.
Well, they need it because no one's played more games than Kilmarnock.
0808 17 17 700. Killie fans, what do you think about the new management team? We've worked with both of them. Barry, you played alongside both of them as well. Derek McInnes, all the people you've played alongside. Did you think Derek was always going to be a top manager? But you've had some year. Do you think you'll be back in football management? Billy's on already on 08 08 17 17 700. Listen, Barry, would you go back?
Never rule anything out, but at this moment in time, Paul, I'm happy in what
There's
I'm
a job
doing.
at Aberdeen.
No thanks.
Barry Ferguson at Aberdeen. They would. Did you say you'd never rule it out?
No Aberdeen.
No, I know. Don't
no Aberdeen.
rule out.
But listen, you can
Rangers.
never rule out going back into management. Listen, I had a fantastic 3 month. Listen, loved every single second of it. Unfortunately, never get the job. But listen, I'm back doing what I was doing previous to I got the job, which I was very happy in. So. I'll continue to do that, and we'll see what the future holds.
I've been told not to keep saying the year of the bluffers, but as my wife said it to me, I heard Simon Jordan. I watched the clip from yesterday, and he called them the bluffers. You had Kevin Thelwell bringing in Russell Martin, the wrong choice. I'm talking about the football directors, and Paul Tisdale bringing in Wilfred Nonsi. And I'm not blaming the managers. See, if you're offered a job at Rangers or Celtic, you're going to take it. But the bluffers in football, had taken over in 2025. It's time the clubs take back control and make the right kind of decisions and get the right people in the dugout.
Paul, you're dead right, but it is an important role to be whatever it is, director of football, sporting director, but don't be in the dugout like Fannin Steele last night from Aberdeen. I can't believe he looked as though he was in charge, and I think it puts Peter Leaven in an uncomfortable position. He's the guy who's been training the players. He's the guy who has discussed the tactics with the players. Let him be the number one and you take your seat up in the stand. But it is an important role to have, because if you can provide the manager, the coaching staff with good players, good recommendations, every manager would be pleased with that.
But let the manager manage and coach. Look, I agree with Andy. They're important. If you're looking for a player, say like a central midfielder, you identify 3 players, then it's up to the sporting director to go and hopefully get you 1, 2 or 3. So watching that last night, I don't think I've ever seen that before. I was astonished. Just let Peter go and try and do his job as best as he can. And I'm sure, as Andy mentioned there, when I was watching it, I just thought he looked... It didn't sit right with me. It didn't sit right at all.
Graham is on a Rangers fan. We're going to go in just a second or two. Just before we come to you, Graham, let's hear your manager, Danny Rule, speak about the set pieces, because, of course, both goals came from the corners.
Very important. On the weekend, we scored after transition moments 3 times. Ball-winning situation today after set play. It's very important that you have a lot of tools how you can score. And also by the set play, we invest a lot of time on the pitch, off the pitch. Scott is doing a fantastic job in this part. I think you have to improve if you want to be top of the league. You have to improve in all the parts. We are in a good way, but it's just the next 3 points, not more. And we have to continue.
Scott Fry, of course, so far so good.
Yeah, he's certainly made an impact, no doubt about it. Look, set pieces are so important in football. Games are won and lost with set pieces, and last night Rangers got both goals. Good delivery, great delivery in fact from Connor Barn, who I thought was outstanding again last night.
He loved it against his old club, didn't he?
Yeah, they were giving him a bit. I remember being in charge last year. We went up to Pittodrie, and some of the abuse the young man got was just, if I'm being honest, bang out of order. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. But anyway, he didn't let that affect him. He was concentrating on playing his game. But last night his deliveries were great, and 2 really good headers, one from Fernandez and Nico Raskin.
How much time did you spend on attacking set plays, defending set plays when you were there for a
Every day
time
after training we would do it for about 20 minutes. That was earmarked for that was Dodge's gig.
Right.
He was big into set pieces. So come Saturday when you're watching Kilmarnock, I'm sure you'll see a few set pieces.
I like, I mean, the way they do it, I like a mix of the zonal and the man-for-man stuff, because I think it works.
Let's go on the lines. Graham's on. Hi, Graham. Good evening.
All right, how are you doing, Paul?
Yeah, good, thank you. So is Barry, I believe, and Andy.
Hi, Graham.
So you're a
All
Rangers
right, how you
fan?
doing?
Yeah. Happy New Year to you.
Rangers fan. Oh,
Yeah.
right, thank you. Same to you.
Thank you.
I was at the game last night, Barry,
Yep.
and it's screaming out for a left centre half and a left fullback. The boy's doing well. He's good in both boxes, but in between it, he's a liability, mate. If they give Danny Rowe any chance of winning that, we need to get 2 left-sided defenders and a midfield player who'll go beyond the strikers. Give him a wee chance.
Listen, I agree in terms of, I think they need competition for places. Certainly Magoma, there's nobody else that's naturally left-footed in that area. So I think that is a position that they've earmarked. I do believe, I don't know the situation on Cornelius. I know Giga is on his way back from the AFCON, but he struggled a wee bit. So I do think Rangers will try and bring in 3 or 4 players. I'm sure, or I'm positive, the board will try and back the manager, because he's already identified who he wants or where he needs to strengthen the team. And certainly the areas that Graham said, I would, that's areas that I would be looking at. I would be looking at also a central midfielder and somebody up top as well.
Andy, what do you think Rangers need?
Well, before the weekend game against Celtic, when Chermiti scored a double, and they are signature goals for him. I thought he'd kick on. I thought he'd go on a run of scoring goals. I'm not sure about his overall performance last night, but I agree with Barry. I think Rangers need something up front. Chermiti and Danilo. You've been looking at those players because they are they're big names, they're big signings, and you expect them to do a bit more. So the goals that Chermiti scored at the weekend, they're the type of goals that you want to see him, I think, score more often. So it'll be really interesting to see where Rangers try and strengthen in this window. I think the main area that they need to strengthen is central defence.
One thing I will say about Fernandes, in the opposition box, he's a real threat. Look, I think he's a work in progress, there's no doubt. If you look at his overall career, he's not played a lot of football. This is probably the most football he's played on a regular basis. So I agree with Graham. I do think centre-half is a key area to strengthen. I do think the left-back area, they will look to bring somebody in and challenge Magoma. You've got to remember, Magoma's only 19, he's still young as well. So he's still got to fulfil a bit of potential. And then there's other areas, as I said, I think midfield's crucial, a real dominant midfielder. Somebody with a bit of power in there would certainly help. And up front, you can't deny that Rangers need somebody up front who can put the ball in the back of the net. Look, Chermiti and Saturday against Celtic, I thought his two finishes were excellent. He looked a real threat, certainly in the second half. Last night, I thought he'd done pretty well as well. I thought his hold-up play was pretty decent. But Rangers do need to strengthen. Look, they've been in a brilliant run the last couple of months, but I'm sure the manager knows that he needs to go and make sure he brings in players. But the players that he brings in, I believe, have to go into the starting 11.
Is the cash going to be there, do you think? They shelled out a lot
I don't know. I don't know the situation, Paul. That's me being brutally honest, but I'm sure the board will try everything in their power to back the manager, because, look, Rangers are in a title race now.
Yeah. Graham, can you believe it? When your manager came in October, you were 13 points behind Hearts. You're now 3 points. Do you think you're going to win the league?
I think if we get these three players in, they're in with a shout. I thought they should have been in earlier. But when he came in, we were talking about hope we qualify for the conference. We were hoping to finish 4th or 5th. Fingers crossed. But no, I think if they get the players in, we're in with a shout of winning it.
Martin
I think
O'Neill
will still be favourites.
Yeah, Martin O'Neill coming in at Celtic. What do you feel?
I don't think they were that great under Martin O'Neill. I mean, the St Mirren was a last minute. Dundee won nothing at Parkhead. The semi-final of the Cup, the second half with 10 men, we were a better team, I think. So I don't think the fear factor should be there. Obviously, his history and what he's done in the game, but I don't think there's a fear for them, because I don't think they're much better than us. Just probably got more better players, squad, better squad. We've got a good 11, but he's probably got a good 16, 18.
It's going to be fascinating, Andy, isn't it, what happens now? Because neither Rangers nor Celtic have been playing well at all.
We're all enjoying the title race, but I've heard Celtic supporters saying this is the worst Celtic team they've seen for some time. I've heard it from Rangers supporters on this programme as well. When Celtic and Rangers drop their standards, and when Hearts have been so consistent, they've only lost a couple of games. I know they've probably drawn a bit too many for their liking, but what you're seeing is three teams at this stage of the season that could potentially win it. All
right, we're going to take a quick break. Barry, on you go.
One thing I will say, certainly with Danny Rowe coming in, he certainly improved some players. You look at Connor Barron, I keep mentioning, he's been Rangers' standout player in my opinion the last month or so. Mikey Moore, who looks like a different player. And again, you've got to remember, he's only 18 years of age. And a big plus, a lot of people are saying about a centre-back, a big plus is Dujon Sterling's back as well. He's a big player. You keep him fit, he has all the attributes to be a top player.
What do you want to see happening in January? And we're here. Transfer window is how many days to go now? We'll work it out during the break. Give us a call, 0808 17 17 700. Wednesday night, we're here with Burger King, as always. Whopper burger on a Wednesday. You'll be hungry after this in the new studio. Barry, are you enjoying it? Your first night here, under the lights as well?
Listen, it's all singing and dancing.
It sure is.
It's
Can he be playing under the lights?
Indeed. And that's just our colleagues. Leslie Ann, it was her birthday the other day, so there's some cake there for us. So
21 again.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Andy, I didn't know you did a memory act yourself. Barry, what a week it's been in Scottish football. What a few months. And of course, we've got the World Cup coming up. Just can't wait for that. There's been so much happening. Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen, everywhere else. But this is going to be the World Cup year.
Yeah, it's something that really, well, everybody should be really looking forward to. What was it, 28 years the last time we qualified? And I think Steve Clarke's done a magnificent job. I think the group of players deserve so much credit. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this group of players go about their business. So, yep, bring it on. But there's a lot of football domestically still to be played. So it's going to be a great 6 months, Paul, no doubt about it.
And in a World Cup year, Andy, every single Scottish player playing whatever it is, desperate to be in that squad.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think when you look at maybe even Hibs players, at the Caddens, you look at Kieran Bowie, who's had a little taste of the squad. I've been down south recently where I've seen Ollie McBurney at Hull. Yeah. He's back to his best form, but
scoring again. Yeah.
Well, he's never been a favourite with the Scotland supporters. He didn't, to be honest, he didn't do much for Scotland when he was given an opportunity. But his record down there, you see Ollie Burke doing some great things in Germany, but still it's tough to get in the squad. And I think there will be a sense of loyalty from Stevie Clarke to the likes of Lyndon Dykes and Lawrence Shankland and Che Adams. Very difficult to get beyond those three. I'm assuming everyone's going to be fit, of course.
Let's hear from Martin O'Neill then. This time last night, he'd just spoken to the media. We did tell you on Monday night we expected him to be in the dugout on Saturday against Dundee United. And I can tell you, Barry, he was actually listening in the car on the way to Celtic Park just to get the picture. I think he did the interview with Celtic TV, so he was listening to the programme, and I think he quite liked your analysis.
Oh, that's nice to know. I was going to wish him all the best there, but I don't think that's the right thing to do. But look, I think Celtic made the wrong decision. Yeah. Certainly, we're letting them go. A lot of people were going on about leave them to the cup final, but we said on there, and I think most of the guys in the studio who were on that week, keep him at the end of the season. He knows. Listen, people go on about his age, 73. But he still get the energy. You can tell that. You could see that when he was back for the short period of time. And he's got the younger ones below him who'll do all the running about and do the hard graft. But he knows the game inside out. He knows Celtic inside out. And I think it's a wise decision by Celtic to bring him back.
He was asked yesterday, so the contract till the end of the season, would you consider staying on beyond that?
I wonder whether I would have the capacity to go and carry on. And also, I'm 112 next birthday, so I think time is kind of running out for me. Would it be, I'd like to try and do well in it. Who knows what the board might think, but I would not be, and I'm serious about this, I wouldn't be thinking any longer than the end of the season for me, regardless of what happens.
Mind you, Andy, still 3-4 years younger than Dick Advocaat, who'll be playing Scotland.
Yeah, I think you've got to take what he says seriously. If he doesn't feel as though he has the energy for it, if he doesn't feel as though he could really throw himself into it for another full season. I mean, he's come in now, and what problems do you have? You have the problems of so many players who've been playing out of position. You've got a guy in Dyson Maeda who he spoke about the other day, and he's so unhappy at not being given the opportunity to make the move that he thought he was going to get. And, Celtic should have even replaced Dyson Maeda, but we're still going back to a couple of transfer windows trying to get a replacement for Kyogo and the one in the summer for Adam Ida. So all of the problems in front of him right now, trying to get players in that it's a manager that's only going to be there for 6 months. It's a hard sell to to any player that you want to sign on a long-term basis. Players like to be associated with the manager that's bringing them in. Obviously, they're signing for the club, they're signing for Scottish football, they're signing for the potential of European football, but he's got a lot of problems in front of him at the moment.
Mark's on asking, would you re-sign Kyogo on loan till the end of the season? He's not getting much game time down at Barry's old club at St Andrews.
It absolutely depends on what Martin O'Neill thinks, and I think he will. You remember that little nugget he said to Wilfred Nancy? He said, keep your experienced players, keep them close. I wonder what he'll get out of Callum McGregor, who we're all hoping will get back to his best form. What does he want in a striker? He plays every week. He's a captain. What are his thoughts? Who's available? Does Kyogo want to come back to Glasgow? Does he want to stay down south? It hasn't worked out for him at Birmingham, but he's on a different level of salary. Are Celtic interested in that? I think there should always be options available for the manager, and those options should have been the last window, even last January, thinking ahead of a year. Here's some striker options. You would hope that Celtic have got a number of options available for Martin O'Neill.
He was asked what was it like in those 33 days when he left the club, and yet somebody did say earlier, the Rangers fan Graham said, look, some of it wasn't very pretty, and that's absolutely true. Celtic just got over the line, but he got wins, which everyone's talked about this season. Not about processes, not about, I'm seeing some good things.
Paul, I've always said that football's all about winning, and it's a bonus if you play well into the bargain. And look, Celtic didn't play well every game Martin O'Neill was in charge, but he found a way to win, albeit they only beat Dundee 1-0 at Parkhead. They scored a last minute goal against St Mirren. But if that was the Celtic now, they wouldn't have got that result against St Mirren.
Did you think Rangers were in any danger when they went ahead at Celtic at the weekend?
No. I was confident when they got the equaliser, when Chermiti got the equaliser. Look, Nico Raskin further forward's a real danger. Driving into the box, great cutback, great finish. I was more than confident in that stage because you could see the Celtic players were shot a bit, and listen, it proved the case.
And Andy, that's so different from even late last season when Barry was in charge, came to Celtic Park, went ahead, Celtic pulled back to 2-2, and I think most people expected Celtic would win, but it wasn't. But this time when they went behind, it just didn't look as though that will was there.
Yeah, you need adjustments, and obviously they're short. I mean, I think right now Johnny Kenny is the guy to play up front through the middle. I think Maeda wide left, if he's focused, I think play them in your better positions. And he might not be the answer, Johnny Kenny, but right now, he's the best that they've got. And that's why I'm so surprised that they haven't strengthened immediately as a striker, someone who's ready to play every week. I was sure Celtic would have that type of business done already.
Do you think they'll get somebody in by Saturday?
I don't know what to think about Celtic's approach now, because for years it's always been the last couple of days, certainly the last week, where you do a bit of business. But given the amount of noise since the summer, and given the fact that no Kyogo replacement, no Adamida replacement, the fact that they've struggled with Iheanacho, who's got an injury, Jota's got an injury, you're turning to Johnny Kenny, the young lad Osmond, who's picked up an injury. I'm just amazed that no one has come in to date.
Martin O'Neill was asked, any transfers imminent?
You do know that the young lad has joined us from Bournemouth for a start, and obviously didn't know anything about that, and so that's really up to him now to gather a bit of momentum himself. Hasn't played very much football, but from here on in, whatever we're doing, it's just a matter of, again, I'll reiterate, we need the players in, and as quickly as possible. And
he was asked, how many do you need, Martin?
I would be hoping to, if the board were to listen to me, then we would have about 56 players, So I will try and narrow it. We definitely know. I think you'd be aware, but of what positions that we need to strengthen in. and that's what we're going to try and do. But I don't. It's a difficult window, and in terms of buying players, things that you say, that'll be difficult. But we do need to supplement the squad.
Barry?
There is no chance he would have took the job if he didn't get guarantees to bring in at least 3 players, because they need strength in Celtic, there's no doubt. So I would be surprised if that wasn't one of the questions that he put to them, as, listen, I need players in, because this squad ain't performing anywhere near it should be, and we need reinforcements in.
But you need them in now.
Yeah.
I mean, you've needed them for some time, but the window is open. I don't know who they're speaking to. I've got absolutely no idea. But even when Martin O'Neill was here, a couple of months ago, he would have known we need a striker. So he would have been saying, you need a striker desperately for January. Get him in early. Why not get... There are games now. There's a game at the weekend. Can you not have a striker in for the game against Dundee United?
Maccabi Netanyahu's Ivory Coast winger Jocelyn Tabi, he's 20, he's said to be close to joining Celtic, but the Celtic Fans Collective have urged the interim chairman Brian Wilson to lead the charge to bring unity back to the club. They have said today in a statement this has been sorely lacking all season. Celtic can only reach its true potential when there is unity across the club, the board, the manager, the players, and crucially the Celtic support. It's something all fans want to help push the team in the race for the league title. And finally they said, however, unity can only come through a process of mediation, contrition and reconciliation. We're calling on Brian Wilson, the interim chairman, and representatives of Celtic to meet with the Fans Collective in the spirit of reconciliation and a genuine desire to achieve unity on the same themes presented in the initial open letter. A club divided's never going to win.
Yeah, it's a growing disconnect. There doesn't seem to be much scope, in my view, of getting it back anytime soon. I've no idea what Brian Wilson's intentions are or whether he wants to speak to anyone. I only know that having played for Celtic and won a title with Celtic, I can remember games where our supporters put a yard on my stride because they were so desperate for me and the team to do well. And that's what you mentioned earlier, Paul, the unity. And supporters can play their part. If they can put a yard on the stride of some players, that helps change a draw into a victory. It's a huge bonus.
And Barry, the atmosphere at Ibrox, which a few months ago was toxic, it's not completely transformed, but
it's getting there.
Yeah.
It's certainly getting there, and by winning games, that's the reason why it's getting there. The fans have really bought in. Look, some of the games have not been pretty, let's be honest, but they've managed a way, they've found a way, and they're giving it everything they've got, the players that are on the pitch, and the fans certainly relate to that. They're the most important people, Paul. You need the fans. If the fans are behind you, I think you're halfway there to being a successful football team.
Any hint of who's coming in and going out, because they've got a huge squad? Danny Rule was asked about this afternoon.
Yeah, we are in process. We work on this. I cannot tell who is in the squad at the end of the window. I think, especially with young players, it's about get minutes and developments, and then we have to make good decisions. What is the best for some players? Yeah, it makes no sense to keep them and they get not minutes. I think this is crucial. For me, it's always about performance on the pitch, during the game, but also during the week. How is the training's performance to get minutes? And you see it at the moment, it's also not easy to come in the squad because some players, they try, they push. The last 2 days after the big win, the players are on the bench, they're on front foot, they try, they want to be part of the train at the moment. And you have to be on front foot, otherwise we leave the train station without some players, and this is then tough. Yeah, we need the challenge, we need a strong squad, and I think this is also important for me. When we make subs, we have to be better, that we get impacts, and I think this is also what we agree. I think with the board, with the club, we know what we want to do, and but what we don't know is if we can do everything what we want. Yeah, but we are trying.
Barry, they're trying.
Yeah, I would imagine so. They're trying, because you're listening to the manager there. He's desperate to strengthen the team. But listening to that interview just towards the end, he's not happy with the impact that's coming off the bench. He wants stronger. So that tells me that he's desperate to get players in. Now, I think there's been 5 or 6 players that I read that are getting made available for transfer. It's easy saying you can get rid of A, B and C, but clubs need to want these players. And obviously players have got a decision to make. Do they want to actually go if clubs come in for them? So it's going to be an interesting next 3 weeks. But I'm sure Rangers are going to try and be as busy as possible with players coming in and obviously players going out. And also the younger players, I think he's referring to Finlay Curtis and Lyle Cameron, who have not had a lot of minutes. I think in an ideal situation for both they players who I think have got huge potential, I think it's better for them that they go out and get minutes and get the experience.
We're going to hear one of the experienced players in a moment. Nico Raskin next.
The Go Radio Football.
Heading towards the weekend after, well, there would have been 2 games last night, but Livy against St Mirren was off. Both of them desperately needing points. Rangers at home to Aberdeen. So could they continue the performance of the weekend at Celtic Park? And they did. 2-0, both coming from corners, and Connor Barron's corners connected well with Fernandez, who rose above everybody, including Chermiti. He's a fair size to open the scoring, and then Nico Raskin yet again, Andy, with a head. How many goals? He does score quite a lot, doesn't he, for somebody who's not the tallest in the team?
The one I think about is the one where Barry's team played Celtic at Parkhead, and he scored one there and set up another goal. He was maybe arguably the most influential player on the pitch that day. He's got a lot to offer, and I know he's mentioned that the difficult relationship he had with the previous manager, that seems to be all forgotten now, and he's expressing himself so much more on the pitch.
We are streaming live on YouTube. If you sound a little bit different tonight, type in This is Go Radio in the search bar and watch us live from our brand new studios. Barry, you've been here, there and everywhere on TV. How does this one shape up for you, the studio?
Oh, it's looking great,
all right.
Isn't it?
You okay with the red and white? You wanted it blue and white, didn't you?
A wee bit of blue mixed in would have been perfect.
Steady. Andy, you quite happy? Normally the Sky Studios for you.
I'm playing in my comfortable position. I'm through the middle. I've got a couple of wingmen.
One
you were a wide player, but
I was wide, yeah.
I can imagine you.
Oh, I was a wee winger.
Wide in the touchline.
Aye, yeah, getting battered in the touchline. Yeah, playing amateur football. But never talk. See, if you haven't played at any level professionally, never talk about your games, because they all tell us about it and then they wind you up. So honestly, don't ever tell them how you played really well
winger,
down Stonefield Park in Blantyre in 19 Canteen. No, I'm not even going to try it. We're going to hear more from Danny Rule. And I said Nico Raskin. So let's hear from him after good performance last night. Rangers now, as you know, 3 points behind Hearts. He spoke about the manager, and I think he was referring to the change with the new manager in and maybe harking back to Russell Martin. This is what he said.
No, I'm just being me. I'm just being myself and try to do it every day. Obviously, when the old manager was here, it was a bit more difficult for me to interact with the boys at some point. But right now, I'm just back with my... being myself, and I feel the trust of the manager and of the staff, and just give me a lot of confidence. But in our group, everyone tried to step up. We have loads of people talking, and we try to push each other to the right direction, so it's good.
Do you think, Barry, Russell Martin might think, I should have played him more at the beginning, I might still be there?
Yeah, because he's one of Rangers' most influential players, in my opinion, if you play him in the right position. I wasn't privy to what went on. There was clearly a breakdown in communication. They didn't see eye to eye. Listen, that happens in football. It's part and parcel of it. But that's in the past now. Nico needs to look forward. He's got a World Cup coming up. His form, up until the last couple of weeks, hasn't probably been to the level that he would want, but now gradually I'm starting to see the real Nico Raskin. He's got all the attributes, Paul. He's a real danger. I love when he drives forward. He's very strong. He's got a goal in him. He's very aggressive, and you've seen the goal last night. He's got that. He loves that run. That's his go-to run across the front post with a header. Andy mentioned he done one similar last year against Celtic, and last night I wasn't surprised to see him get on the end of it. So hopefully he can continue this form, because Nico Raskin in that kind of form will definitely benefit Rangers.
Do you think he'll stay?
It's a big question. He's probably the biggest asset the club has. Now money talks, everybody's got a price in their head. Now if somebody comes in with a real good offer that Rangers feel is acceptable, then they would probably have to look at it. But at this moment in time, there's been no bid, so we just need to enjoy him while he's here. And when he's happy, and when, as I said, when he's playing in the right position, he's a proper midfielder, Nico.
And obviously, as a Belgian international, people will be aware of him. Andy, how much do you think it would take for him to go, for Rangers to take the cash?
Well, I think we've all been aware over the last number of years of how difficult Rangers' finances have been. Whether they want to cash in on one of their biggest assets at this stage of the season, maybe sometimes the offer is too big, and that's the only option. But whatever happens, you say at every transfer window, you want to come out of it a stronger team. It's hard to imagine Rangers being a stronger team, a stronger squad, with them selling Nico Raskin.
He spoke about the togetherness they now have in the team.
Yeah, I think it's not been a great start for a lot of the boys for different reasons. But now, since the manager came, he tried to insist on the basic, do the basic right on the pitch, be together, and then the quality is going to show up, and that's what we try to do as much as we can. I think the team is looking really good together. We have a great spirit, and obviously it helps when you win games. You win games, you get closer to the top. So we all look in the same direction together, and we just enjoy the win games. We try to give the fan a bit of pleasure, and then all together we look forward.
And you got the question we're all asking: can they win the title?
Well, we came back from a long way, so if we can do that and if we can keep going, why not?
Barry, it is game on, isn't it? Hearts in there, Rangers, Celtic.
I would expect that to be the answer from Nico. I wouldn't like him to sit there and say, "Oh, I don't think we're good enough, or no chance." Clearly, the team are getting confidence, and the only way you get confidence is by winning games of football, and that's what Rangers are starting to do. They had a blip against Hearts at Tynecastle, but they've responded in the right manner. They had 2 good wins against Motherwell and St Mirren, who are difficult teams, difficult games, and then obviously going to your fiercest rivals and having a poor first half. But that shows you that they've got the personality and the mentality to come back in the second half, and then a good follow-up last night, a good solid performance. There was never any doubt. Once they went 2 up last night, Paul, there was never any danger Aberdeen coming back from that. So it's all about keeping your feet in the ground, but continue to work hard, and hopefully over the next 3 weeks a few reinforcements will come into the squad and help the team. And then, as I said, you never know what can happen, but it's certainly doable. It's certainly doable.
Raskin was asked about the man who lit up the Rangers' end at Celtic Park at the weekend, Chimiti.
You just have remind me a bit of Cyril, in the sense of whatever happened for him, critics or not, he's always keep his smile, always keep his good attitude, work hard on training. And we knew, looking at him, that he would come good at some point, because he has everything to be a top striker. He is quick, can hold the ball, can score goals. So we're just pleased for him. He's a top guy. He brought something to our team. And every game now he's just showing a bit more of himself, a bit more of his personality, and we really enjoyed Youssef.
Andy, nothing like scoring in an Old Firm game, I'd imagine.
No, nothing like it. And their signature goals, their headline goals, and you just expect players like that to be able to build on it. So, of course, he's shown that he can score goals. How often does he score? And when was the last time he scored really often? And how much hunger does he have to score again and to score regularly? And sometimes the biggest goals you get are those breakthrough goals. It's 0-0 and you've got a chance and you make it count. That gives the team a whole lift. So I don't know about Chermiti. I haven't seen enough of him to make me think, yeah, there's a guy that will go and get 15 or 20 goals. It looks as though he's capable of it. He's got all those attributes that Raskin was alluding to there. But surely there's no bigger incentive to build on his number of goals than getting a couple against Celtic.
That's the challenge to him now. You've shown that you can do it in the biggest stage. You've got a double. I think over the last couple of weeks, his performance levels have went up a level, should I say. He's got the 2 goals against Celtic. He's became a hero. He has a lot in the locker that you would want in a centre forward. His work rate's really good. He's strong. He's powerful. The only thing is, when you're a number 9, you're judged on how many goals you score. Yep. And I know Nico's putting him against Cyril Dessers. Cyril came up with 29 goals last season.
But he did get a lot of criticism at the beginning.
He did, but listen, do you know what? That made the big man work even harder.
Yeah. His attitude.
Yeah, his attitude. So hopefully, I don't know, Chermiti, I've only bumped into him briefly for a couple of minutes. Seemed a nice guy, just delighted that he's got the 2 goals against Celtic. Now hopefully he can kick on big time.
News is next. Don't miss the next hour. There's a lot to come.
Radio Football Show with Burger King. Call 0808 17 17 700.
Hour 2, welcome back. Paul Cooney here with Andy Walker, former Celtic star, and Barry Ferguson, Rangers legend as well. You're both legends in broadcasting as well as in football. Barry, quite a few Rangers fans are saying, will you come back into management at some point? Well, it's not going to be at Rangers anytime soon, given the way it's going with Danny Rule. But I think it's in the context of Neil McCann and Billy Dodds, who were your number 2s at Ibrox, going back in at Rugby Park.
In terms of myself coming back in, not at this moment in time. Listen, I've had a few phone calls, but I politely declined.
Was it Dermot Desmond?
I just listen. Again, it's all about being happy in life. Yeah. Listen, I'll go back to the last 3 months of the season. I never thought that would ever happen. I loved every single second of it, and I'm back to doing what I was doing previous to that, which I was also enjoying. So. I'll stick to this just now.
Andy, you didn't ever go into the coaching. Great career, but it was the media for you at Clyde, then at Sky, and now here as well as Sky on Go.
You gave me a wonderful opportunity at another station, Paul, and then I was able to build things. You know, I quite enjoy writing. I wrote a column for a Sunday newspaper, and then, you know, I got asked onto the old Scott Sport with Jim Delahunt and Archie McPherson and
swept away.
And and then moved on to Sky, and I was doing that Scottish stuff for best part of 14 years. But I really enjoy it. I was down in Wolves last weekend doing that game. I'm down in Sunderland next weekend. I really enjoy doing my co-commentaries and getting a taste of football in Scotland and in England.
Is he any good at it, Barry? Do you feel?
He's not bad. He's not bad. No, listen, Andy was good. Certainly up in the games in Scotland. Him and Ian Crocker were a very good double act. Before that, it was Davy Provan as well.
That's right, yeah.
Who used to be on this show.
Indeed.
Top man, Davy.
He'll be on the beach.
Top man.
I was just about to say that, with a cold beer somewhere.
Yep.
Lucky him. But listen, everybody takes different paths in their career. Andy obviously went down the media side. When I retired, I went straight into management, but I went down a different route. I wanted to go to lower league and get my hands dirty, which I really enjoyed at times. But that's tough. I have to give a big shout out to part-time managers. It's tough because guys are working. You might get late call-offs, etc., etc. You only train for maybe 3-4 hours a week. So, and then I come out of that, and I was happy what I was doing, and then I get thrown straight into the madness, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I just loved the pressure side of it, if I'm being honest with you. Never get much sleep, if I'm being honest, but yeah, I wouldn't change it. It was in terms of my career in football, that beats everything.
I remember Barry going and playing with Alloa, and they were part-time. And I found it really tough because I was used to putting demands on every single one of my teammates at Motherwell, at Celtic, at Bolton, Sheffield United. You'd put demands on your teammates. These guys had been working all day. Some of them on the road, some of them really, jobs that were taxing for the body. And I'm asking them to do, give us a bit more in training. And you can't. It's too tough. So, it's a big change going from full-time to part-time. And I've got so much admiration for those guys who do it. Turn up every week to training, part-time, maybe a couple of nights a week, and then the game at the weekend, of course.
Yeah, straight for work in their work gear.
Yeah.
Straight, nothing to eat, straight onto the training pitch. I take my hat off to certainly the players at part-time level, but also the coaches and the managers and the staff, because they put a lot of work in.
And of course, Barry, you were so used to, like Andy, just different colours at Rangers, Blackburn Rovers, Birmingham City, Blackpool, but you were used to the top class facilities and getting pampered. Players are really looked after, aren't they? And then you'd come in here for the Go Radio Football Show with Burger King, and
with a Burger King, did you say?
Well, you did sometimes as well, and a Whopper Wednesday. But you'd come in here and your phone never stopped. And people say that sometimes. You were at smaller clubs or whatever. That must be because you can handle the pressure, both of you, because you've played at Rangers, you've played at Celtic in some of the biggest games in the world. But at management at whatever level, it's 24/7. And at least at Rangers, Barry, you had great people around you.
Yeah, I mean, it was madness at part-time level, as you mentioned there. You obviously had the game on a Saturday, but you would train Tuesday, Thursday. But it was every single day you were having to be on the phone non-stop. And then, as you say, getting in at Rangers, obviously it's a different level and different calibre of player, and the facilities were amazing. And then you've got a lot of support staff round about you who, I've got to be honest, were brilliant for me as well. So it's great to see both sides, but I honestly enjoyed both sides. But I just felt at a stage I just wanted to come out it, and I never thought about getting back in. And then obviously the opportunity arose in February last year, and it was one that I was never going to turn down, and it was one, if I'm being honest with you, I loved. I just loved the pressures and the demands that were put on you. When you have a bump in the road in terms of a bad result or a performance, then you've got 2 or 3 days to go and fix it. That's the challenges that I loved.
Football management. Well, Martin O'Neill, age 73, 74 in March, got the call on Monday from Dermot Desmond, and yesterday he faced the media for the first time. How did it feel to be back, Martin?
Okay, how does it feel to be back? Yeah, I have to say, just every bit as strange as it was in the first time. And it's, I think if ever you needed proof of anything, we're in the results business, you have to win some football matches, you know. And I've known that myself in my course of my career. So, but it's, in one aspect, really nice to be back. I mean, other ones I genuinely do feel for a manager who has had little time to get his feet under the table, I suppose, put his plans across and things like that, you know. So, it happens. And but I'm here now, so I'm going to see if I'll do my best.
And what about watching? It was December the 3rd, when Martin O'Neill had those moments, I think, just 15 minutes with Wilfried Nancy. How tough was it for him to watch the players that had been his players for, 6 weeks, watching those difficult games?
It was disappointing, but some of the matches that they played in had that, for instance, had that second goal had gone in. I know it's ifs, buts and maybes, and keep those out of the equation, and eventually the results are what it's all about. But there were moments in matches there, if they'd been able to score that second goal, you never know that, things could have been different. You just need a little bit of luck, and somewhere along the way. And I look back at my time. I know it's a fairly lengthy time ago, but when I was at Leicester, couldn't win a game to save my life, and crowd, very restive indeed. That's putting it mildly. And I got a bit of luck. Away from Filbert Street, where we won 2 games in about 3 or 4 days, and eased the pressure. And I'd just come into the football job, or into the football club as well. So I understand these things. So got a bit of luck. We finally got promotion. It was great, and things went really brilliantly for me after that. There, but it was touch and go.
Andy, is he going to perform his magic again in the next 5 months?
Yeah, I think you'll certainly see a new system that the players will be more comfortable with. You won't see, guys like Luke McCown playing as a wing back, and other players playing out of position. I think Ralston will probably, if he's going to play, he'll play as a full back, which he's comfortable with doing. He's got experience there. He's got international football under his belt. I think the players will be more comfortable, and I'm sure he's telling them already that this is a squad, as it stands just now, this is a squad that's capable of winning the title. Of course they've got to improve. He would naturally expect to get players in the door before the window's out. You would think sooner rather than later. But I'm sure the message right now will be, we can win this title. This has been a really, bad run of results, bad level of performance. But we can turn this around. This is not insurmountable. I'm sure that's the message he's given to the players already.
Yeah, he spoke about the 3-way title challenge.
Naturally, I do. I don't know what shall I say, the strength of the squad of, for instance, Motherwell or Hibs or something. I really don't know that there. Certainly, I watched the game against Motherwell, and they were brilliant against us. Really brilliant. in the game. So I don't know that, but Rangers obviously big enemies, and Hearts have got they've had momentum all season. They've been able to win some big games. So it is a difficult task for us, and but it's one that we've got 18 games still left, So
Barry's got a decision to make about the goalkeeper. Schmeichel's had a tough few weeks.
He has. He's come in for a fair bit of criticism. If you look back at the game on Saturday, which was the last game, I think the Mikey Moore goal, albeit it's a good run and he's hit it well, I think the goalkeeper's got to save it. I think if you ask Kasper Schmeichel himself, he'll be disappointed at that, because he'll have standards. So it'll be interesting to see come Saturday against Dundee United how many changes, not just the goalkeeper, how many changes will Martin O'Neill make. I would hazard a guess he'll go back to a back four. There's no doubt in my mind about that. I think with the personnel that Celtic have got, that will suit them. So I'm sure the Celtic fans will come in their numbers on Saturday and see what starting 11 that he puts out in his first game back.
Andy on the keeper, and also, for example, Liam Scales. It's going to be good news for him back in on the bench on Saturday until the 88th minute.
Yep. Yeah, I think these are players that will welcome the change of manager. They might not say it publicly, but there's just a different feel, maybe a better atmosphere around training every day. I think you're right to highlight the poor form of Kasper Schmeichel, but I think the manager will give him another chance and ask him to come good again. Tell him that, no mistakes and you're my number one. And, he is getting on a bit, Kasper Schmeichel. This might be his last big season. I'm sure Celtic will make a change, in the summer window about getting a keeper in. So, and I think you're right to highlight Liam Scales, arguably so consistent for Celtic for such a long time this season, and inexplicably playing out of position under Wilfred Nancy and then not playing at all. I think he's someone who will really welcome the return of Martin O'Neill.
Martin O'Neill also got a tune out of Yang a few weeks ago when he was here, and ironically on Saturday, Yang's goal, well, how good was it? Because he was invited to play the ball back the way, but he took on the Rangers defence.
Yeah, I think Rangers were a bit too open, and this has been a problem for Rangers and Celtic, I think, over the course of the season, right up until now. Both teams are giving away too many goal-scoring opportunities, giving away too many big chances to the opposition. Look at Rangers last night. I've never seen Aberdeen create such good chances in a short space of time in that first half, and they, again, just poor Aberdeen play, not shooting or maybe not getting a good touch, but they were really good chances that Aberdeen had last night. But of course, Rangers get the break of the ball and it's a clean sheet and you build on that. But I think this is why we're in a three-way title race. Rangers and Celtic are giving far too many chances to the opposition, and both of them defensively, they're certainly not at their strongest.
This time last night, though, we had Hugh on in Lanark, huge Motherwell fan, and we shouldn't discount them. Obviously, one of the smallest budgets, but they're only 2 points behind Celtic. It's remarkable. I know Celtic have a game in hand.
Yeah, Paul, I said it last week. When they came to Ibrox or a couple of weeks ago, they're the best football team I've seen this season play in Scotland. Rangers obviously got the result that day, but the first 20-25 minutes, I have not seen a team come and dominate so much. And then you fast forward, Celtic go to Fir Park, and I thought they were immense that night. And what a job he's done. He's come in, he's playing a total different brand of football. But the thing is, with the Motherwell managers, he's got buy-in for the players. They trust him. He trusts the players. And you can see with the level of performances that Motherwell have been putting on. The only thing I would say Motherwell lack is an out-and-out goal scorer. Have you watched them? Because they had 2 or 3, maybe even 4 opportunities against Rangers early doors. Cam Henry's up top, and I think he does really well. He works really hard, runs the channels, but I don't think he's an out-and-out goal scorer. So I'm sure that's something that Motherwell will try and get in the January. But in terms of footballing wise, they're not just a good football team. What I like about them, they're willing to change. I know they like to play out for the back, and there's loads of movement within the midfield and the back three and the wing backs, one coming short, one going long. They're not scared to go long, but when they go long, they don't go direct, they go down the channels. So in terms of watching them, yeah, they're a joy to watch, and I've enjoyed every single time I've watched them play this season live.
Andy, their performance against Celtic 8 days ago it's quite remarkable,
Marvellous.
wasn't it?
Great to see. And you mentioned it earlier about the difference in resources. Yeah. And Motherwell deserve a lot of credit for attracting such a manager who plays great football, and the fans are buying into it. How long will he be at Motherwell? I think that's a big question, because clearly you would think someone like that would do a lot better at a club with better players, a bigger budget. So they should enjoy him while they can. But right now, he is putting Motherwell into 4th place, only a couple of points behind Celtic, albeit having played a game more. But this is a Motherwell team that can think about qualifying for European football.
And the manager, Bertolascu, his name must be getting mentioned around Pittodrie. But Barry, do you think he would go to Aberdeen if offered the job?
No, I think he'll see at least the season out. Look, Motherwell fans will be desperate for him to stay. I can see why he's been linked with the Aberdeen job, but I think he's on to something really good this season for Motherwell, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of clubs looking at the job he's done the first half of the season, and what he'll be wanting is just for this to continue. And if he gets Motherwell into Europe, in terms of their budget, I would imagine Motherwell, I would say Livingston's got the lowest budget in the league, but I would probably say Motherwell are not far away from them.
Regan is on the line, and his team has probably the biggest budget in the league. He's a big Scotland fan and a Celtic fan. Regan, Happy New Year.
Paul, good to be on. Thank you, guys.
Hi, Regan.
How you doing, Regan?
All right, Andy, how you doing? All right, Barry, how you doing? All right?
Good, mate.
All good.
Right, Regan, if you had a long sleep over New Year, Martin Neal is back. You didn't miss much. Wilfred Noncy was in for a month.
No, I didn't miss much, Paul.
No. And you're never cruel, and nobody would want to be but the individual. You don't blame somebody getting the job, taking the job. They were offered it.
No, Paul.
It's the people who thought that this was a good idea. Anyway, you are where you are. Hearts on 44, Rangers 41, Celtic on 38. What are you thinking tonight?
I think the Jambos are in pole position, Paul, but I do think Celtic and Rangers are doing very well as well. But what you said, Paul, I think Nancy was definitely not the manager for Celtic Football Club. But I like the point you were talking about earlier about Motherwell. I've been so impressed by Motherwell, Paul. So impressed with him.
And he managed to bring in a new system. Okay, I know he had the 4 weeks or whatever, Andy, which Wilfred Noncy spoke about the other week. Well, we know it was in the middle of the season, but Bertolascu has done phenomenally well.
Yeah.
What is it that you see that he's done?
Well, I like the fact that he's leaning on some of his Scottish players. Paul McGinn is doing a great job. Stephen O'Donnell has been doing a great job. They've got the best, as things stand, they've got the best defence in the league. No one has conceded fewer goals. And that might be surprising to some, because I do think they give up some chances the way that they play. I think back to when they got a draw with Rangers in the early part of the season. Was it the first game, actually, when at Fir Park? And the amount of chances that they could have given up against Rangers that day. But he hasn't changed his ways. I think all the players are buying into it. And I think at this stage of the season, when you've conceded the least amount of goals, of course you would want to score a bit more. But Mazwanisi is a threat. Hendry's an option. Stamatonopoulos, he's another option, someone who can get goals. So I just hope Motherwell can keep this up for the rest of the season. I like the fact that we're talking about how poor Celtic and Rangers have been, but Motherwell have been excellent. Hearts have been excellent. Hibs are trying to have a strong finish to the season. Falkirk are in the top 6. All these clubs with much less budget than Celtic and Rangers. It's really good to see them performing so well. Performance, Andy, that Gary Lineker would have been proud of there. He thinks he's back at Scotsport, the anchor.
You know what? That's the difference. That's the difference. I would have just said the big Australian boy up top.
Exactly. Apostolos. It's not, listen, Motherwell have done well. Regan, before the break, what do you need? As a Celtic fan, what do you need coming in the door in the next? Well, the sooner the better.
2 strikers. I think a central defender. I think a new shortstopper probably, because I don't think Schmeichel's been impressive. I would like to get your guys' thoughts. Do you think it's time for Martin O'Neill to take Schmeichel out the firing line?
I honestly think he'll stick with them, Regan. I think he'll give him another chance. I agree with you. It's not been his best season. He's made a fair number of mistakes. And as soon as Salah, when he comes in, I think he does all right. But I think with Martin O'Neill coming in, I think he'll... maybe it's something that Kasper Schmeichel will need. He'll be fired up. And I think Celtic will be stronger defensively.
Regan, Salo played against Livingston.
Yeah. And he wasn't brilliant, was he?
Yep. So it's a big decision he's got to make on Saturday, but I agree with Andy. I think he will stick with Kasper Schmeichel.
Barry's the man who dropped Jack Butland, who it's probably the right thing at the time, but you need the cojones to do that, and you did, Barry. And look at the way he's bounced back. Liam Kelly, though, did really well as the goalkeeper that you put in last, April?
Yeah, it's just decisions you've got to make, Paul. I just thought at the time it was best for Jack to come out the firing line for a number of games, and Liam Kelly's a very good goalkeeper. He done brilliant for me, but Jack come back in towards the end of the season, and I think alongside, I would probably say Connor Barron, Jack's been Rangers' best player. I know he made a bad mistake against Hearts, but he showed strength and character to come back from that with some really solid performances.
Regan, will there be a statue to Martin O'Neill by the end of the season? In other words, is your team going to win and make it 5 in a row?
Aye, Paul, I think Celtic eventually will get over that line, but I think it'll be very difficult. I'm just going to ask Barry as well. See, in terms of making Moura, I think he's been so impressive, Barry. I mean, I've been watching him for many years at Spurs. He's been so impressive for Rangers.
Yeah, the difference in him since the start of the season under Russell Martin, and when he was getting criticised, Regan, people got to remember he was only 17 at that stage. He's still a kid, and he's only obviously just turned 18 recently. But his form since Danny Rose come in has been really good. I think he's much better centrally. He's more effective centrally, but he can play off the right, he can play off the left, which is good. He's quite flexible in terms of his positions he can play, but he's certainly impressed me over the last couple of months.
Very young looking as you were, Barry. Were you shaving when you went into the Rangers first team?
No. This is just drawn up.
Regan, great to hear you. Hope it's going to be a really good
All the
year
best,
for you.
Regan. Happy New Year to you.
Thanks, Regan.
Cheers, Regan.
Remember, you can get us in Vision as well if you type into the bar. This is Go Radio in the search bar. You can watch us live from our brand new studios. We're back with more next.
Let's go.
The Go Radio Football Show live from Glasgow, from the heart of the Gorbals. So we're on Go Radio Live. You can get us wherever you get your podcast, or you can also see us on YouTube. Just go to the search bar, type in "This is Go Radio." Barry Ferguson, Andy Walker, two familiar faces, along with me, Paul Cooney, and looking forward to the weekend games coming soon. Rangers winning last night, so they're second top of the table. You know the score by now. Hearts on 44, Rangers 41, Celtic on 38, Motherwell on 36, and then come Hibs 34, Falkirk on 27. And what a season so far for John McGlynn, and of course Stephen McGinn, one of our colleagues, occasional colleagues now, doing a great job there at Falkirk. Dundee United on 25, they come to town at the weekend, playing Martin O'Neill's Celtic. Aberdeen welcome Danny Rose Rangers on Sunday. They're on 25, Dundee on 22, St Mirren on 18, despite the fact that they're the only winners of a trophy this season. Then Kelly on 13, Livy on 9.
Yeah, but remember, they've got a couple of games in hand.
Absolutely.
I would fully expect them to climb up that table, because if you look at St Mirren, the players that they've got some really good players, and they've got a really good manager, so I would fully expect them to climb the table.
But that was a real pity for them not to get the game last night, because you don't want to get too far away, because people then say, oh, they're in the relegation zone. That's a great point though, Barry. They've got two games in hand. They should have played Livy last night. Want to talk Rangers just now. We're open to any kind of call. We've got some people. Johnny, a Kilmarnock fan, is watching as well as listening in Kilmarnock. Hi Johnny, glad you've made your switch. You are a big Rangers fan, so Barry, you want to say hello to Johnny, who's tuned in at the moment? He should be working, but he's working tirelessly. But Johnny, a huge Rangers fan, he said you were his favourite player.
Oh, good. He obviously knows his football, Johnny, doesn't he?
And just 2 tickets will do for the Celtic game at the beginning of March, isn't it?
That's the one.
How many sleeps? No, well, we're not quite that close yet.
But it'll be interesting to see the league table at that stage.
Martin O'Neill, will he work his magic?
That's when it really hauts up.
Yep.
Where Celtic, Rangers and Hearts, are we even talking about Motherwell, where they will all be, when the title's on the line, when European football's on the line, and of course at the bottom of the table where, Kilmarnock have made a change. And are they going to be relegation candidates?
0808 17 17 700 for the Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Alex is on, a big Rangers fan, and he said, look, who's coming in, who's going out? So Danny Rule was asked this afternoon.
I'm positive that we will not sign all the players on the last day. I think we can do something. If I say now in the next 2 days and then it's 3 days, then you will ask me why. But I'm more positive, and then it could be at the end of the window you find someone they can really make a big difference, and then you can go again. But we are clear on which positions we want to do something. We are clear which profiles we need, and now it's about convince them, bring them here, and then, and this is my experience from the last couple of windows, especially in January, they need also some minutes and some days to adjust to a group they are growing at the moment. This is not easy. You can sign players, but they have to understand what we want, how we press, how we want to play football. It's about also bring them very quick, and maybe we have some players in for the cup game. It would be helpful, because then we can use them there.
And Barry, I'll tell you what, you said 10 wins out of 13 games since he came in, and given that everyone knows it was a weak squad, that is the mark of a really good manager.
It sure is. If I'm being honest with you, I didn't see it coming, because Rangers were in a bad place before Danny Role came in, and you've got to give him credit for that, Paul. He's obviously really worked hard with a group of players, and now he's got to January, he's clawed back so many points. Now he'll be wanting to bring in his own guys who he's identified, who he believes that can make Rangers stronger, get into the final part of the season.
Let's hear if there was any clue from the next question about who would be coming or going. I don't expect him to say you wouldn't, but this is his answer.
Yeah, we are in process. We work on this. I cannot tell who is in the squad at the end of the window. I think, especially with young players, it's about get minutes and developments, and then we have to make good decisions. What is the best for some players? Yeah, it makes no sense to keep them and they get not minutes. I think this is crucial. For me, it's always about performance on the pitch, during the game, but also during the week. How is the training's performance to get minutes? And you see it at the moment, it's also not easy to come in the squad because some players, they try, they push. The last 2 days after the big win, the players are on the bench, they're on front foot, they try, they want to be part of the train at the moment. And you have to be on front foot, otherwise we leave the train station without some players, and this is then tough. Yeah, we need the challenge, we need a strong squad, and I think this is also important for me. When we make subs, we have to be better, that we get impacts, and I think this is also what we agree. I think with the board, with the club, we know what we want to do, and but what we don't know is if we can do everything what we want. Yeah, but we are trying.
And consistency was a big problem for Russell Martin with Rangers, but he's getting a run going now. This is before the window, Andy, so that's what he needs to continue until he can get enforcements in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, interesting to see where he strengthens, who he can bring in, but you cannot keep bringing players in and not having anyone going out the door. Yeah. The last thing you want is players who know they're not going to play, moping around, being a bad influence. Yeah. So as much as it's important to get some freshness in whatever position he feels is necessary, you got to get some players out the door.
He spoke about the Aberdeen game this coming Sunday. It's bizarre, isn't it, the way it's worked out, Barry? Aberdeen last night. Mm-hmm. Aberdeen, your favourite haunt on Sunday?
Yeah, I think I will think a little bit what they are doing. I cannot imagine that they will start with the same tactic like today. That means again a new strategy from them, but for us it's about looking to our side what we can improve. If we dictate the game like we did in some phases of the game today, then it's also tough for them. I think if we improve in this direction what I want to see, then the opponent should look more what we are doing, and we have not to look too much what they are doing. But this is about development. It goes not overnight. We are in a good way, but still a lot of things to improve. I see at the moment a group that take more and more things what I want to see, and this is about as well consistently in 90 minutes.
So Barry, 2 changes last night, I think, at the start. Would you think he'll make changes for Pittodrie?
Yeah, there could be a possibility. I don't think he'll make too many changes. If there's going to be a change, I'd probably hazard a guess it'll be 1 maximum. 1 or 2. In terms of Aberdeen, I don't think they'll play the same way. Well, it's impossible to play the same way because they never laid a glove on, albeit they had a couple of good chances in the first half where they've got to do better. So it's certainly going to be a different game at Pittodrie. We know it's a tighter pitch. The fans will get right behind them. It'll be a full house. Rangers, I think, will need to approach it in a different manner as well. And that's the good thing about Danny Rowe. He's pretty flexible that way. He's not scared to go back to front, which a lot of managers are very arrogant in terms of we play one way and one way only. He's not like that, and he's proven that in the short period he's been through the door. So a big one in Sunday. It's going to be different for last night, that's for sure.
Has Mitov lost his touch at times? He had a couple of good saves last night, Andy, but he's not been as solid as he was previously.
Too many mistakes in my view, and he should have had Raskin's header. He dropped one early on where Conor Barron may well have scored. I think he's in poor form. I think he's given away too many mistakes. But Peter Leven, I think, will stick by him. Or is it Lutz Van Steel, who's he's obviously in the dugout as well. But the biggest problem for Rangers is not to give away the type of chances they gave away last night at Ibrox. If you give them away at Pittodrie at the weekend, surely Aberdeen won't muck it up the way they did last night.
It's going to be some weekend, isn't it? Celtic playing on Saturday against Dundee United. Can they go back level with Rangers? And then Rangers at Pittodrie Sunday. Kevin's on the line. He'll be watching, probably be at the game, I'd imagine, at Parkhead, Celtic Park on Saturday. Good evening, Kevin. How are you?
How you doing, boys? Happy New Year to you.
Oh, Happy New Year to you, Kevin.
Happy New Year, Kevin.
Yeah.
Same, Kevin.
So,
congratulations, Barry, for the weekend, mate. I know I've ribbed you for about a year and a half, so fair play. So that's why you've not heard from me. I've been hiding under the bed for the last week, for the last wee while. I'm looking forward to it. I think Martin O'Neill coming back. Listen, I just wanted Andy and Pat. Listen, the day for you actually for the risk is sounding moaning for moaning's sake at the Celtic board. That decision to let O'Neill go after the 4 or 5 weeks and sign Nancy, that I think that will go down as the worst piece of decision making in Scottish football history, in my opinion. That would never be bested by anybody. Because you're looking at, for the sake of 33 days, boys, right? Yeah. For the sake of a 33-day shock experiment, it has cost us a cup. It has cost us several embarrassing results. It's cost us, quite possibly, could cost us the league. It's cost us respect, and it's cost the players a bagload of confidence for the sake of 33 days. It's just an absolute scandal that's happened.
I think on a positive note, Kevin, it's not irretrievable. I mean, I know those losses to Rangers, to Motherwell, to Dundee United, they were really tough and unexpected. But the only positive you can say is the Celtic board realised their mistake and they changed it. Well, they could have changed it earlier, but relatively quickly. It's been no more than a month.
There was no need for it though, Andy.
There was no need for it.
Because even if Wilfred Nonsi was coming in, because obviously Paul Tisdale, and he must have thought, the guy obviously wanted to do a good job. He thought this was a solution. And the words were coming, wait till you see this new guy. It's not the kind of stuff that Celtic have said for years.
Paul, I said it for so often. I didn't understand why you go for elite manager after elite manager. And then you get a bit of criticism and all of a sudden you go for someone who's a really good head coach and who's got a CV in the MLS. I just didn't understand it. And now you've gone back to someone who will immediately have the respect of every player in the dressing room. And that's a big plus.
But it's a harder job now than it was in late October when Martin O'Neill came in, because you know, look at Man United. People don't fear them anymore. And at Celtic, that fear has perhaps gone.
No one fears Celtic. They're good to play against because you'll get chances. What can you do in this window? Can you strengthen defensively? Can you get the striker in that everyone's been talking about for long enough now? And I'll say it again, I'm really surprised they haven't done some major business already.
And what has been lost is that trophy. Kevin, as you well know, the League Cup trophy is at the Smiza. It's not in Kerrydale Street, and that will never come back. You know, that's in the record books. And the board, or whoever it was that gave the director of football so much control, they have to, and they must be having a long think about things to make sure they don't do that again. It's a madness that hadn't engulfed Celtic for, well, decades probably. So, Kevin, what do you think now? Is Martin going to do it?
Well, listen, it's a big ask because Rangers have put. Rangers' performances haven't been great, but they're getting the wins. Hearts, credit to them. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If Celtic don't back Martin O'Neill heavily in January, which is the worst transfer window to do business in, you can forget the league and you can forget second place. There's two strikers. There's two strikers. There's two players linked with the club apparently already at the line or near the line. A Hajic split player and a player for Israel. One's a CDM and one's a right winger. There's no news of a striker. I'm pulling my hair out here. It's like, does the left horn know what the right horn's doing?
Do you keep pumping that horn? Is that you so frustrated?
Oh, mate, it's the wife trying to get through in the other line. There must be trouble.
Kevin, you will be. Kevin, don't be a stranger. Great to hear you in the new year. Things change so quickly. Thanks for your call. We're going to have to take a quick break, and then we're back after this. talking the transfer window. We were talking Rangers, talking Celtic. What about Hearts, Motherwell, and the rest Hibs as well. Thomas is always tuned in, or often in San Francisco. Wonder what the weather's like there, Andy, because it's not been great, but it's January into the new year. Have you any New Year resolutions?
I'm just trying to be a better person. It's very difficult, but I'm going to try.
I was going to say you've got a lot to work on. Barry, what about you? Do you make resolutions?
Yeah, I did. I'm going to play more golf this year.
All right, okay. Yeah.
Try and get my handicap down.
What is it now? Scratch?
No, nowhere near it. I never played enough last year.
No.
So, going to try and get out and play as much as I can, try and get the old handicap down.
You were kind of busy, weren't you, after you got that call on a Sunday night after Philippe Clement had left? I saw a stat today that Killie haven't won a game since October the 4th or the 2nd. It was against St Mirren. And since then, there's been 6 Old Firm managers.
It's just astonishing, isn't it? Russell Martin and Danny Roll and
Brendan
Rodgers, Martin O'Neill, Wilfred, and then you're back to Martin O'Neill. Amazing.
It's crazy.
Listen, it's going to be, just looking at the table, and they've played 21 games, Commander. Listen, Dodgy and Neil will know that they've got a job in their hands, but they wouldn't have took it if they weren't confident in their own ability. But it's a big ask.
It sure is. And
also, it's a good club, but Kilmarnock.
It's a big club, isn't it?
I think they're moving into a new training ground in the summer. The only downside to Kilmarnock Football Club is their pitch.
But that's changing next season, isn't it?
Yes.
Because it used to be one of the best. I don't know if you remember that, guys.
I used to love going to...
It's a big pitch.
Oh, I used to love it. Rugby Park was a brilliant
I don't
pitch.
understand why they don't all get together. We've got Kilmarnock, Livingston, Falkirk with plastic pitches. I have no idea why we allow it.
Well, they need to be stronger and stop it, but of course we've now got Falkirk in there as well.
It's obviously what the clubs want, because they vote for things like this, but I'm amazed that they allow plastic pitches in top flight of Scottish football.
Because the rule come into place and Kilmarnock have to change theirs in the summer, but I think Livingston and Falkirk have got an extra year on their surface because they get promoted.
And of course Falkirk doing really well. Livy have got a fight on their hands, but if anyone can, David Martindale can. And for Celtic, if anyone can, Martin O'Neill can. So he faced the press yesterday. There's a real battery of photographers and reporters there over at Celtic Park. He was asked, look, a month of turmoil, how are the squad now?
And I thought every new manager steps in and says, the training was great today. And it was fine. It was fine. It was nothing more than fine. And but lads are in decent spirits. You know, we had a bit of a meeting here about 10:30 today, and I know honestly they genuinely feel as if they're in good heart. So naturally disappointed with the recent results and the way things have gone. But I'm just hoping that they're up for the battle ahead, and I'm sure they will be.
Wow, Andy, because fine's not a great word, is it? If you say, how are you, fine, was that good or not so good today? I think he's been realistic and he's been honest.
He's also, he knows the players are going to be hearing this, and he's maybe looking for a reaction. Give me more. And I think that's what every supporter would say to the players. You need to give me more. And it's a good message to subtly send out. But I remain convinced that he will have told them this is not irretrievable. The title is still there to be won if the level of performance picks up.
And they need to buy quickly, because it's part of it. You heard Reagan earlier on. Quite a number of Celtic fans have been on the socials and saying, don't leave it to the last minute.
Even Wilfred Nancy, the best chance he could have had was to have had players in for... the first day or two of January, and still, nothing there. And the positions that are really, really important. You need a striker, you need a central defender, you need a wide player. He
was asked about the transfer window in the next 3.5 weeks.
We definitely need to supplement the squad. Absolutely no question about that. And I think that Sean, for instance, has been working in the background in certain things. I think you would get to know some players. It's up to me as quickly as possible, because eventually, I would like to be sitting here in front of you and saying, listen, all these players are my choice. So, and that's what I really like to do. So I don't have a great deal of time. Because before, at a football club, when I was at Celtic before, I would be able to run the rule over players that I knew, players that I maybe didn't know, like Jos Vulgaren, for instance, way back years ago. But you take the chance on somebody who's an international player. So here, I will rely on Sean and Mark and Steve, their opinion on players. But eventually, it'll be down to me as much as anything else. And or if they don't do well, I'll blame Sean. And if they do brilliantly, I shall take all the credit.
That's a real Martin O'Neill quip there, isn't it, Barry? But the buck stops with the manager, and he makes that clear. He'll make the decisions.
Yeah, no, that's the way I think it should be at a football club. It's the manager that coaches them. He picks the starting 11. It's the manager's final say should be the case at football clubs, but quite a lot of clubs don't operate like that.
No. He was asked about the future of Dyson Maeda
last night. I don't know what has happened since, but, and I don't know. So there's little point in me saying, "Oh, he's really happy. He wants to stay here," and then tomorrow morning he's gone or something. I don't know. I'll have a word or find out what he's thinking, even if it's through his agent or whatever the case may be. But I think there was a bit of disappointment with him because the move didn't go through. I think it was to Wolfsburg, was it? I think in August time. Am I telling you something that you didn't know? Possibly. Okay. Yeah. That never happened. That never happened. It wasn't Wolfsburg at all. No, absolutely. I think it was Augsburg. Was it? It was something else. No. If you're asking me, I'd love him to stay. It'd be actually really important for him to stay if that's the case. But I genuinely don't know what has happened. By our next press conference, I'll be able to tell you.
Andy, we knew it was Wolfsburg were mentioned here. Mark Goody said it months ago. What about Maeda then? He's got a big part to play if he stays. They need him back on top form.
He needs to get his focus back.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, he thought he was out the door and he was moving away, and his family were tuned into another move, and it didn't happen. And I think that's hurt him, and he maybe feels badly towards the club. So he needs to get his focus back on track. He needs to get his focus for the new manager, Martin O'Neill. He needs to get, I think, the focus for himself. It's a big year. It's a World Cup year. And primarily, he needs to get the focus back for the Celtic supporters who absolutely love him when he is in top form. He's been a brilliant Celtic player. So if he's only going to be here for another 6 months or so, it would be great if he could go out on a high.
We're in the last minute already of the show. So Andy, Celtic, Dundee United, what's going to happen?
I'm going for a comfortable home win.
And the goals, though, where are they going to come from?
I wouldn't put it past the likes of Johnny Kenny to get a goal. I think he's been unlucky. I think someone mentioned it earlier about the amount of chances that Celtic have made under Wilfred Nancy. They haven't taken as much as they should have, but they've made chances, and even allowing for the fact that Kenny's been in the position to miss them, I think Martin O'Neill will persevere and play him from the start of the weekend.
Barry, what do you think on Saturday, Celtic?
I think Celtic will win the game.
Pittodrie, Sunday on Sky.
It'll be a lot different than it was last night, but I think Rangers have got that confidence. I think they'll understand what they're getting into, and I think it will be a tight one, but Rangers will come back down the road with 3 points.
Andy?
I'm going for a draw, 2-2.
You're going for 2-2. And Dundee Hearts, just a scoreline. Well, will Hearts continue?
For the Hearts? Yeah. I saw Dundee recently. I'm impressed with them. I'm going for another draw there, 1-1.
Barry, what do you feel?
I think this will be a tight one. Dundee have picked up. I'll go Hearts.
You're going Hearts. Andy's going the draw. It's going to be fascinating, isn't it? You like it in a new home, guys? Yeah?
Marvellous. Looks great. You look fantastic.
Thank you.
You've never looked better.
You need to get to Optical Express, get you sorted out. Exactly. Barry, thanks so much. See you soon. You too, Andy. Tomorrow night, we've got Charlie Mulgrew and Chris Burke will join us tomorrow night live at 5. News is next, and then it's Jokel Day.